Hey guys, back with another episode of Flawless Finance going live with the CEO, episode 22. Crazy to think, we're 22 episodes in now. But like with this stream, what we like to do is go through a wide range of topics, anything from sports to business to politics to economics. Sort of go wherever the news takes us, typically, historically, we've been very basketball focused. And we'll probably talk some basketball in this stream and then maybe some movie stuff as well. But yeah, let's get into it. Okay, let me double check that we're definitely going. Are we? Stream and then maybe some movie stuff as well. Okay. So let me see if we are. Is this going or? Okay, there we go. Cool. Okay, so we're going to start off with imagining every NBA team's top three trade targets. We're not going to go through every team. Just going to have a look through and see which ones are interesting, and we'll talk about them. So first, we've got the Atlanta Hawks looking for Lou Dort. Now, Lou Dort would be definitely an interesting fit for the Atlanta Hawks, particularly on the defensive side, where, of course, the Hawks have got basically a massive defensive gaping hole with Trae Young on the floor. When you've got a player like Lou Dort on there, he's a really, really good defender, so he helps take some of that pressure off. Dyson Daniels won't get the Atlanta Hawks out of the league's bottom 10 defense all by himself. He's going to need some help. So Lou Dort is a sensible target for them and makes a lot of sense. If OKC believes it can get enough out of Caruso and Cason Wallace on defense, then I could see them potentially entertaining a trade for Lou Dort. And a trade with Lou Dort would potentially involve Bogdanovic, which, again, he's a great three-point shooter and decent playmaker. But really what you're getting from Bogdanovic is that three-point shooting. And in 2024 in the NBA, you can never get enough three-point shooting. So is a trade that makes sense. It solves some issues on both ends. Not that OKC necessarily have an offensive issue, because they don't. They've got more than enough, offensively, in terms of, Shea and Chet. Caruso even can offer some buckets here and there. Cason Wallace, not a negative on offense. They're not struggling on offense, the Thunder, but again, like I said, you're never going to turn down more 3-point shooting. So yeah, I'd be super curious to know what you guys think of that trade. Do you think Lou Dort would be a good fit for the Atlanta Hawks? Yeah, I'd be super curious to know what you guys think. Let me know in the comments below. Okay, let's see what else we got here. Okay, it's an interesting one. So with the Chicago Bulls looking at potentially Austin Reeves. Now, it may not seem sensible to add another guard to a team that already has two good ones in Kobe White and Ayo Dosunmu, but neither of those two are likely to extend off of their current deals and will hit free agency in 2026. Reeves would be a key piece in the return for Zach LaVine if the Bulls and the Lakers could agree on a deal to send the two-time All-Star to LA. One whose shooting and playmaking would allow Chicago flexibility in the way it builds out the rest of the roster. Now, of course, Reeves can basically go into any team in the league because he's a glue guy. He's not incredibly ball dominant. He's last season he played a lot of basketball, so he stays healthy. He's, decently efficient on the ball. We'll give 100% on defense every time. And like I said, not a particularly ball dominant player. Where you've got Zach LaVine who would go into the Lakers and would be one of the more ball dominant players. And I'm not sure if Zach LaVine, on paper, you say, having Zach LaVine as a third option on offense, you're nearly a super team at that point. But we saw with Russell Westbrook, of course, LaVine and Westbrook aren't the same player, but we saw with Russell Westbrook, having just 3 superstars is not as fun as it sounds, because there's only one basketball, right? You need to have enough time, enough space to have these guys do what they do, or else you're just going to be getting a watered down version of one of the 3 players, and it'll likely be the third guy who'll be watered down. And we saw at the Lakers, it was Westbrook that was watered down. So much so, he almost got driven out by the fans, because you've got the first option and second option aren't particularly good 3-point scorers. Now, the third option has to be a great 3-point scorer then to make up for that. Russ is not a good 3-point scorer at all, never has been, and at this point in his career, he probably never will be. Right? LaVine, on the other hand, is a good 3-point scorer. He can shoot the ball, and he's a decent playmaker for what it is. Because considering his offensive prowess, of course, is going to attract defensive attention. So when you get that defensive attention, can you make the most of it for your teammates, find the open man, make those right plays, and ultimately score the ball? LaVine can do that. So Reeves to the Bulls and LaVine to the Lakers. I mean, we've been hearing about LaVine to the Lakers for a while. Doesn't seem there's been a great deal of movement on that trade. I mean, the Bulls aren't going to let him go for nothing. Doesn't seem like they're going to let him go for nothing. So, and the Lakers aren't going to want to give up Reeves. He's a guy who, I don't think the Lakers did draft Reeves. I think they signed him an undrafted free agency. Or if they did, if they didn't, he was a late second round pick. But he's a homegrown guy. He's been here since he was a rookie. Signed a nice extension that would keep him here for another few more years. Loved by the fans as well, because he's the ultimate glue guy, isn't he? So I'd be super curious to know what you guys think. Do you think Reeves to the Bulls would be a good fit? And do you think LaVine to the Lakers would be a good fit? I'd be super curious to know what you guys think, and let me know in the comments below. Okay, let's keep it going. Okay, well, we've got Corey Kispert from the Washington Wizards to the Denver Nuggets. Corey Kispert is a player that I really, really do enjoy watching. He's another affordable wing shooter that the Nuggets could quite easily slot into their squad. Would he be starting? I'm not sure if he'd start, particularly in those positions where he plays. He's a wing shooter, so they've got Michael Porter Jr. there. Jamal Murray's the guard. So maybe Kispert could slot in at that 2-guard position at times. Maybe that 3-man. But ultimately, he gives you what you need in terms of he's a shooter. So yeah, Corey Kispert, another affordable wing shooter the Nuggets could fit into their squad. Kispert does come with looming contract extension concerns, though. He's on a rookie contract. He's going to want a decent-sized extension, I'd imagine, because he is going to be quite useful in the league going forward. But not only that, but Denver doesn't have any second-rounders to add to the deal. If they wanted to put together a trade package for Corey Kispert. Which means the Wizards would really want to have a player like Nyaji from Denver, or somehow expand the deal to justify Denver including a first-round pick swap. But yeah, another super interesting one. Be super curious to know what you guys think. Do you think Kispert on the Nuggets would be a good move? And what sort of trade package do you think the Nuggets would have to put together to get a player like Kispert from the Wizards? Be super curious to know what you guys think. Let me know in the comments below. What else have we got here? Yeah, I think that'll be it from the basketball stuff for the time being. Let's get into some movie stuff. Okay. Okay, let's look at all the Marvel movies releasing in 2025. Okay, so kicking off 2025, we're going to have Captain America Brave New World. Now, this will be Sam Wilson's cinematic debut as Captain America as he welcomes Harrison Ford to the MCU. Now, I've been watching MCU films, I mean films in general, for long enough to understand that you cannot be fooled by the trailers. The trailers are made to look great. They put the best parts of the film in the trailer so you watch it. That being said, the trailer does look like it will be a really nice change of pace compared to the previous MCU films we've seen. This one looks to be a bit more exciting, more character driven. Yeah, like I said, it looks like it's going to be a bit better. You know, it looks like it may be sort of shades of Captain America the Winter Soldier, where there's sort of political undertones and, you know, espionage and, you know, spy drama, thriller. It looks like it'll be more of that with, you know, like I said, undertones of politics and you know, geopolitics and that sort of thing. But like I said, and this will be a recurring theme when we go through these films that are coming out in Marvel in 2025, that I'm not going to be fooled by these trailers, because I've seen great trailers before and the films ended up being very boring. But I've got high hopes for Captain America Brave New World, because I'm hoping by this point Marvel would have learnt their lesson. Very possible they haven't, but I'm hoping they would have learnt their lesson and then, you know, tried to make this movie something that's quite special, because you're going to be introducing Harrison Ford, who's going to be Red Hulk. Of course, I'm not a fan of a guy this old playing such an important character, because, you know, the MCU, some of these characters are going to need to be around for the next 10 years. Will Harrison Ford be around for the next 10 years? I hope so, but, you know, I've not got a crystal ball, neither does he. But, of course, in terms of, you know, the quality of acting, there's no... He's up there with one of the best, and I've got no doubt that he'll do a great job as the Red Hulk. But we'll see. In terms of how excited I am for this, I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10 in terms of excitement. So I am looking forward to this film. To be honest, I am looking forward to Captain America Brave New World. So, yeah, be super curious to know what you guys think of it. Do you think it'll be better than the recent MCU films? And how do you think it'll compare to the previous Captain America films? I'll be super curious to know what you guys think. Let me know in the comments below. And next, in May 2nd, 2025, we've got the Thunderbolts. Now, Thunderbolts, again, another one with a very interesting trailer. Marvel assembles a team of MCU anti-heroes on the big screen. To be honest, at this point, this is sort of something it's been done a few times now, with this sort of you know, team up of anti-heroes, you know, Guardians of the Galaxy, Suicide Squad. But these were films, and maybe quite similar to Thunderbolts. These were films with very low expectations that were able to exceed those expectations because no one really knew what to expect going into it. That was the same with that was the case for Guardians of the Galaxy, and was the case with Suicide Squad. Even though Suicide Squad, the one by David Ayer, was awful, the Suicide Squad by James Gunn, who also made Guardians of the Galaxy, was a great film. I mean, to be having if they could have James Gunn to make this film, it probably would be an amazing film. But obviously, James Gunn's over in DC at the moment. But the Thunderbolts will be the first of 2 team-focused MCU films that will release next year in 2025. And it assembles characters from past MCU movies who haven't always been on the right side of history, gathering them together to operate in a team under the direction of Valentina Allegra, who, when filming on the movie began, it was confirmed that the title is Thunderbolts, and Marvel chief Kevin Feige refused to explain the meaning of the asterisk, which we'll kind of see what happens there. If that means something, Thunderbolts asterisk, we'll see. But yeah, like I said, a team of anti-heroes, it's been done before. MCU, I mean, Marvel, they did have a formula. We'll see what their formula looks like now going forward, because that formula hasn't worked and they've lost a lot of money and made a lot of bad films. But we'll see what that looks like now. Will they be able to change the formula? Will they be bringing in some new creative minds? Will they actually be bringing in directors who know what they're doing? I remember seeing The Marvels, and the director for that film had never directed a major budget blockbuster before, and you could tell, because it was a whole, however long that movie was, 2 hours, 2.5 hours of absolutely nothing. So we'll see what happens with the Thunderbolts. On paper, it looks like it could be a fun film. The trailer looks pretty fun, but like I said before, I'm not getting fooled by these trailers anymore. So let's see what happens with the Thunderbolts. In terms of excitement, I'm putting this out of 5. I'm putting it out of 5 because I like the cast. I like the idea of the movie, but execution is everything. And we'll see how well they can execute. I'd be super curious to know what you guys think of the Thunderbolts. Are you looking forward to it? Or are you not that fussed? Have you sort of run out of patience with the MCU? I'd be super curious to know what you guys think in the comments below. Let me know. Then we've got the Fantastic Four come July 25 of 2025. Marvel's first family joins the MCU. Now, I've been longing for a Fantastic Four film for so long. The last Fantastic Four film by Fox that came out, I want to say 2015, nearly 10 years ago. Well, that was awful. That was just straight up a bad film. And I don't think anyone would disagree with me with that. It was a film that was, like so many of these recent Marvel films, just really boring. Of course, Disney acquired a number of the Fox film and TV assets in 2019, and Fantastic Four was one of them. Marvel announced that there'd be a Fantastic Four movie, which would be set to follow one of Marvel's most well-known teams and superhero families. It's going to be called Fantastic Four: The First Steps. That's planning on releasing in July 25, just a few weeks after James Gunn's Superman hits theatres. Now, apparently it's supposed to be set in the 1960s, since the heroes haven't previously been mentioned in any of the MCU projects. It's been theorised that the Fantastic Four will be set in another universe in the MCU multiverse. For me, I'm not a big fan of all this multiverse nonsense, because it just removes the stakes. Like in Multiverse of Madness, a film that I really didn't enjoy at all. I think was at times looked very well and was directed very well, because Sam Raimi's a great director, but the movie itself wasn't a very good movie, because you're going through the multiverse, going through these different universes, introducing us to these new characters. You showed us a Doctor. You showed us a Mr. Fantastic. John Krasinski's, if that's his name, whatever his name is, the guy from The Office. That guy was Mr. Fantastic. Got killed in 5 minutes. So now I know Mr. That's the Mr. Fantastic I've got in my head now. A guy who shows up and is killed in 5 minutes. He's not a threat. He's not formidable. He, any villain that comes up against him will be probably quite happy to face him because he can get dealt with in 5 minutes. So that's a problem with the multiverse stuff. And then, doing it in the past, me, personally, I'm not a fan of going back. I don't want to know about the past. Talk about the present, talk about the future. I understand, obviously, we're nearly 15 years into the MCU now, so introducing new characters isn't going to be that easy, particularly when you've got these guys who are, grown adults who've had their powers probably for a while, but potentially could get their powers in the movie. I'd imagine that'll be the case in this one. But you're like, okay, well, you've had your powers. You were around when Loki invaded Earth. You were around when Thanos snapped. Like, where have you been this entire time? Type of thing. So I understand why they're doing it in the past. I'm not a huge fan of that. But a good Fantastic Four film is something that I would love to see. And I really did like the second Fantastic Four film they made, Rise of the Silver Surfer, because the Silver Surfer was such a good character. Galactus really was nothing. But that he could have been potentially set up as a villain for the third film. I think that might have been the direction they wanted to go in if they were going to be able to make a third film. But I think Galactus may be introduced in this film. I'd be super curious to see Galactus because, again, like a good Fantastic Four film, I'd love to see a great, accurate representation of Galactus. So in terms of excitement, I'm giving this an 8 out of 10. Even though it may not sound like I'm that excited for it, I am really excited to see a good Fantastic Four film. But I'd be super curious to know what you guys think of Fantastic Four: The First Steps. Are you excited for it? Do you think it'll be a good film? Do you think it'll be better than the last Fantastic Four film? Be super curious to know what you guys think. Let me know in the comments below. Yeah, I think that's going to be it from me. Talked about a few of the films. Had a great time. Alright guys, I'm out. Take care. Peace.